Bert Murrell, man, how long you been in the education field, man?
Almost 20-some years.
Is it getting better for urban schools, urban students in cities like Chicago?
In a lot of ways it is, in a lot of ways it's getting worse.
What do you mean, man?
Is that we have a lot of good programs, but somehow in implementing these programs, things get lost. We have an idea because basically you got the mom and the father, or the mother, the parents, or the supervising adults, and they have to sign on board. And we make attempts to do that, but we really don't do that. And until we actually address those issues, if there's crackhead in the house and the mothers, and there's no place for the kid to sleep, we still have problems with education. And no matter what we do inside of the school, what goes on outside of school is going to affect it. One is not related. Until we solve poverty in this country, we're still going to have masses of people uneducated.
Well, this is a quick spot. I told Arnie Duncan that when he was still here in Chicago before he became education secretary under President Obama. I said, listen here, my children, they have wonderful parents, meaning me and their mother. We demand A's and B's. We give them some support, financial love, everything they need to do to get A's and B's. For the average student, and they're just average students, if you don't have that support at home, you can forget about it. Am I wrong?
And actually, you're exactly right. And every time we try to solve the children's problem, our students' problem, without making an attempt to solve the adult problem, we get disconnected. It doesn't work. When President Obama got on TV and said, "Let me talk to people," I wasn't talking about political issue. I'm talking about what's motivating the country, about giving your best effort. Your best effort, is what we expect at all times. You can change and there were school districts that refused to play it. Are we functionally disconnected? Was that a good idea but implemented so poorly because the people have their petty fights between what I want and I don't want to recognize this man as being the president of the United States, that we're going to have issues with that, of just motivating our kids to do the best of our best interests. We're going to put our political views.
Let me ask you this. Let me go beyond that. Let me ask you this. Some people say, well, there's no excuses for urban students, for students in cities like Chicago. And most people have never been to the hood of Chicago, so they don't know what they're talking about. But in cities like Chicago, the problem with the public schools is that most of our students come from destabilized homes. And some people say you can't use your destabilized neighborhoods, destabilized homes as an excuse. But it's a hell of a hurdle to overcome.
Phil Jackson said it, and I think he phrased it best. He said that inside of Chicago, let's talk about the kids who have been killed by gunshots. And let's take how many people of Chicago have died in the war in Afghanistan. And there's more people that's built. Our kids are in a war zone. And if you're saying a war zone does not affect the educational process, what world do you live in? And we have to address that. There's a battle going on. Kids are dying in the streets. Most of your kids and stuff coming from urban population have seen dead bodies, dead relatives, have seen blood splattered. They're in danger of their own blood being splattered. They know how, and they're trying to figure out a way to survive and get educated. And some of them are not successful because we haven't solved the problem. Why is there a war going on in the middle of Chicago streets? Why is our 6-year-old kids have to learn about dying and have to choose between their life and education? Why is boys that go to Dunbar High School so afraid of turning their homework, they hide it from the kids? The parents, they do their homework, they're just scared to turn it in at risk of their life. If we don't solve these issues, we will never solve the educational issue in this country.
Bert, man, I'll put your email up. We got to talk to you. I'm sorry this is so quick, but I'm doing a live show here. But Bert, you're the man.
Thank
Education,
you,
man. You've been doing it for so many years. Bert Murrell, you're the man.
Have a great one.